5.1 Configure standard IPv4 ACL. Before creating an ACL control list, the ACL, it's important to plan it carefully. This is especially true for complex ACLs that contain multiple access control entries. A poorly designed ACL can accidentally block legitimate traffic or allow traffic that should be denied. Step number 1, define the security policy. The first step is to clearly define what the ACL should accomplish. A question such as which traffic should be permitted, which traffic should be denied, which devices or networks are affected, and writing down the policy first helps prevent configuration mistakes. Step 2, write the iOS command. After the policy is defined, translate it into Cisco iOS ACL commands. Instead of typing commands directly on a router, it is recommended to prepare them in a text editor. This makes it easier to review and modify the configuration before applying it. Step 3, add remarks. For larger ACLs, include remarks to document the purpose of each session. Remarks do not affect packet filtering, but they make the configuration much easier to understand later. For example, a remark might indicate permit management traffic, block telnet access, allow web traffic. Good documentation is especially helpful when multiple administrators manage the traffic. Step 4, copy and paste the configuration. Once the ACL has been reviewed, copy and paste the commands into the router. Preparing the configuration beforehand reduces typing errors and minimizes the time spent configuring the router. Step 5, testing the ACL. After applying the ACL, always test it thoroughly. Verify that allowed traffic is successfully permitted, unauthorized traffic is blocked. Legitimate network services continue to operate normally. Testing ensures the ACL enforces the intended security policy without disrupting normal network operations. Why planning is important? Planning an ACL before configuring it provides several benefits. It includes reduced configuration mistakes, prevents accidental service interruption, make the ACL easier to troubleshoot, improve documentation and future maintenance. A well-planned ACL is much easier to manage when created by trial and error. Now let's take a look at how to create a numbered standard access control list, or standard ACL. A standard ACL is created in global configuration mode using the access list command. And then the syntax is following. So in the global configuration mode of the router, you enter access-list. Put a space followed by an access list number with the option deny, permit, or remark text. So for the access list number, the access list number identifies the ACL. For a standard numbered ACL, Cisco used the range 1 through 99 inclusive, also 1300 to 1999. For example, the command can be access-list space and then followed by 10. And then for the permit or deny attribute, so permit allow matching traffic and deny blocks matching traffic. Every ACL statements begin with one of these actions. Source address. A standard ACL filter traffic based only on the source IP address. We also have the wildcard mask. A wildcard mask identifies which addresses should match. It works together with the source IP address. Besides these, we also have the optional parameters. The command also supports two optional features. Remark. A remark adds a comment to the ACL. And the log is the keyword tells the router to record a message whenever a packet matches that ACL entry. So let's take a look at the command again. So under the global configuration mode, you use access list and then access list number with those options. Note that you can use the no IP access list standard followed by the access list name global configuration command to remove a named standard IPv4 ACL. In addition to numbered ACLs, Cisco also supports named ACLs. Instead of identifying the ACL with a number, you can assign this with a descriptive name. For example, in the command R1 configuration mode, and then you put IP access list standard and then no -access. In this example, a standard ACL named no access is created. Notice what happened after you're entering the command. The router prompt changed from R1 config to R1 and config a -std-nacl, close the parentheses and the hash key. This indicates that you are now in the named standard ACL configuration mode. From this mode, you can enter multiple ACL statements directly. If you're unsure what kind of commands to enter, and then put a question mark. All these available options shown below, they are the ones available for you to use. 5.1.4 Apply a standard IPv4 ACL. After the standard IPv4 ACL is configured, it must be linked to an interface or feature. The following command can be used to bind a numbered or named standard IPv4 ACL to an interface. First, we need to go to the interface configuration mode of the router and type the command IP access-group and then followed by the access list number or the access list name, and then indicate that's in or out. To remove an ACL from an interface, first enter the no IP access-group command. But the ACL will still be configured on the router. To remove the ACL from the router, use the no access list global configuration command. The topology in the figure will be used to demonstrate configuring and applying numbered and named standard IPv4 ACLs to an interface. This first example shows a number standard IPv4 ACL implementation. Assume only PC1 is allowed out to the internet. To enable this policy, a standard ACL ACE could be applied outbound on the serial interface 010 as shown in the figure. For the command, first, in the R1 global configuration mode, enter the command accessed-list 10 remark ACE permits only host 192.168.10.10 to the internet. And then use the command accessed-list 10 permit host 192.168.10.10. ACL10 is a standard numbered ACL. Remark as a description to document the purpose of the ACL. Permit host 192.168.10.10 permits traffic only from host 192.168.10.10. Host 192.168.10.10 is equivalent to 192.168.10.10 0.0.0.0. Every ACL has an implicit deny any at the end. Therefore, all other source IP addresses are denied by this ACL. After configuring this, we should verify the ACL. So in the global config mode, you enter do show access -lists command. And you will see that the standard IP access list 10 and the 10 permit 192.168.10.10. Notice that the output of the show access list command does not display the remark statements. ACL remarks are displayed in the running config file. Although the remark command is not required to enable the ACL, it's strongly recommended for the documentation purpose. Now assume that a new network policy states that hosts in LAN 2 should also be permitted to Internet. To enable this policy, a second standard ACL ACE should be added to ACL 10, as shown in the output. In the command, we enter access-list 10, and then put a remark, ACE permits all hosts in LAN 2, and then the command access-list 10 permit 192.168.20.0 and then 0.0.0.255. Now the LAN 2 is being added to ACL 10. We use the do show access-list command to verify that. As you can see, the one in yellow text, 20 permit 192.168.20.0 with the wildcard bits 0.0.0.255. Now we apply ACL 10 outbound on the serial 010 interface. In the global config mode, enter the interface because we're gonna apply to serial 010. So that's the interface serial 010. In this interface config mode, enter IP access-group. And this is for ACL 10. So put a 10 and then out for the outbound. And then end this config mode. The resulting policy of ACL 10 will only permit host 192.168.10.10 and all hosts from LAN 2 to exit the serial 010 interface. All other hosts in the 192.168.10.0 network will not be permitted to the Internet. Use the show running config command to reveal the ACL in the configuration, and as shown in the output. First, we run show run pipe session is access list. And then as you can see, it shows the access list we entered earlier. These are the policies for those ACLs. Notice how the remark statements are also displayed. Finally, we use the show IP interface command to verify if an interface has an ACL applied to it. In the example output, the output is specifically looking at the serial 010 interface for lines that include access list text. In R1, and then we enter the command show IP interface, and then we want to check for serial 010. Pipe include access list, and the output shows outgoing common access list is not set, but outgoing access list is 10, and then so on. This confirmed our configuration. 5.1.6 Named Standard IPv4 ACL Example. This second example shows a named standard IPv4 ACL implementation. The topology is repeated in this figure for your convenience. Assume only PC1 is allowed out to the internet. To enable this policy, a named standard ACL called permit-access should be applied outbound on the serial interface 010. Remove the previously configured name ACL10, and then create a name standard ACL called permit-access as shown in the command here. First, in the global configure mode, enter no access list 10 to remove ACL10. And then we enter IP access-list standard, and then that name, called the permit-access. Now we enter into the access list config mode. Enter remark ACE permits host 192.168.10.10, and then permit host 192.168.10.10. Now add an ACE permitting only host 192.168.10.10 and another ACE permit all LAN 2 hosts to the internet. And these are the commands we need to use. So first, we enter remark ACE permits 192.168.10.10, and then permit host 192.168.10.10. Remark ACE permits all hosts in LAN 2 and permit 192.168.20.0, 0.0.0.255, and then exit this config mode. Apply the new named ACL outbound to serial 010 interface. In the global config mode, first we need to enter into the interface. Use the command interface serial 010. And now we enter IP access-group. And then the name, permit-access, and this is out. Use the end command to exit the interface config mode. We have applied all the ACE configuration. It's time to check and review the ACL. So we use the show access lists and also the show running config commands to do the work. First, in R1, enter show access-lists command. As you can see, it shows the standard IP access list called the permit-access. And then there are the rules. 10 permit 192.168.10.10. Also 20 permit 192.168.20.0 with wildcard bits 0.0.0.255. And then we can use the show run pipe section, that's IP access-list command, to review this. Just like the earlier example, we can use the show IP interface command to see if the ACL apply to the interface. So we enter show IP interface serial 010, and specifically for access list. So put a pipe include access list. As you can see, here are the rules, such as outgoing common access list is not set. Outgoing access list is permit-access. The output confirmed that we apply this configuration correctly.